Hi, welcome to Bookwood. I'm glad you chose to spend some time with me. If you haven't met before, my name is Mashou and I create bookish and journal related content over here on YouTube. Welcome in our weekly carousel vlog. In this vlog, I will be talking to you about the books that I have read this week, and I will sharing with you some of the activities that I did with my family. I finished 8 books this week, and before you say like, oh my gosh, how did you manage to read so many? Let me tell you that 3 of them are comics. They are the next books in the series Chant des grenouilles, which is a French middle grade comic series that I have started to read in March for readathon. And so these 3 volumes that unfortunately do not exist in English were a very quick read. It didn't take even an hour to finish them, maybe half an hour or something like that. In this series, we are following some animal children on their adventures. The first 3 books are one big story about a cake contest. And then the 4th one and the ones that will be coming out later are all one-shot stories. They are very cute. I read them mainly because it is a read that I can do with my kids. I have at least Niklaus reading them also. And they have a fun particularity, and that is that there are a lot of nature themes that are brought up to do during the stories, and in the comic are inserted pages with information. The books unfortunately are all already back to the library, but I think I show one of these pages off in my March readathon vlog. I will link it up there for you. Another very short read that I listened to this week is Earthlight. I needed a book set in space for a Patreon reading challenge, and I had forgotten that whilst making my TBR, so I went scrolling through my Audible included books and I fell on this book, which is a novella from 1955, and if I'm not mistaken is considered as quite a classic in the sci-fi world. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. Well, I have already difficulty with novellas and short stories, but then this one I had such a hard time getting into. It starts off with a lot of, like, to me, it feels like info dumping. It is like giving a more like science-y twist about, I think it's uranium, and we are only getting into the story a little bit further. We are on the moon. There is a basis of astrophysicists, the people studying the universe. And we learn through them that humans have conquered the other planets, that we have like civilizations a little bit everywhere in the solar system, but that some of them have made their own like organization. So there is 2 sites and they are looking for a, I keep thinking uranium and I keep thinking it's wrong. It is some kind of thing that they get out of the ground, and it seems that there is lots of them on the moon, and then one day a ship arrives at the moon. It seems to crash, but then it's not accepting any help, and it seems that there are people being there doing things, telling that they work in like telecommunication, but it is a mine, and this will lead to a fight. And I had, like I said, trouble getting into it. Once we were going in the story, I enjoyed listening to it, but then I don't know, I didn't get the point of the whole story. So it's an okay for me, but not more than that. And then there's one third little read that I quickly want to talk to you about, and that is La Nostalgie heureuse by Amélie Nothomb. That one was for Hikathon, the prompt trail on the cover, and it is it's a novella. It's like all books by Amélie Nothomb, and this one is literary fiction, but also non-fiction, in a way that she is describing her return after 21 years to Japan. And we follow Amélie describing not only the things she does, but mostly all the things she feels. And La Nostalgie heureuse, which means the happy nostalgia, it is in Japan, she explains, all nostalgia is happy. But when she sets off, her nostalgia is quite sad. And during her stay there, she makes a decision to be a happy nostalgic. I didn't connect a lot to this story. I thought it was interesting. I wished that the subject was more explored, that we were more into the abstract thinking than in this one. But then I like Amélie Nothomb, and so reading this book, having like her thoughts on these things was interesting. It is not translated to English, so I will not talk more about that one. We will talk a lot more about Amélie Nothomb next month, because I will be reading Hygiene and the Assassin, which is translated. It's also her very first book. So if you don't want to miss that, then you can always subscribe to this channel and hit on the notification, so you will know when my videos come out, and discover when we are reading that book, because that will depend on Brie over at Four Paws and the book and her amazing readathon. And before we talk about another book, I'm going to insert for you some clips of a walk that we did this week. We had the opportunity to follow around a biologist specialized in insects and pollination insects. And he took us around Vence, where our library is located, discovering how you can adapt an urban environment to host all these insects that are going from flower to flower, providing us with plants and foods and things like that. And he explains how important they are, what is threatening to them, how we can accept them. What for the children was the most interesting was that he caught different types of bees and insects, and that we could look at them very closely. No insects were hurt during this walk, of course. It was very interesting, and I hope you enjoy seeing some of this footage.
En fonction des espèces, et en général, ça c'est certainement un mâle, parce qu'il n'a pas d'organes récolte.
The next book I want to talk to you about is, let me fetch it, Son odeur sous la pluie. I still have this one because Yorim wanted to read it as well. This is a graphic novel that I saw on a French YouTube channel, and it has a little story. It is taken from a novel, which is called Ubac and Me, and has an English translation. So the novel has a translation, the graphic novel not yet, maybe it will come, but I'm not sure. This was an artist that wanted to draw the story of the book. And it is a memoir written by Cédric, and this is his representation, about his dog Ubac. This is a little bit in the style of Marley and Me. We will follow how Cédric discovers that there are puppies for sale, and he will go by a French mountain dog, a Bouvier Bernois. This is how we call them, Bouvier Bernois. It's not an easy name. And he goes get one, and we will follow how his life changes in good ways, in bad ways. He will lose his apartment, for example, because he cannot have a dog where he's living, but then that leads him to find another better place to live. We will follow how their duo becomes a trio with Olivier's girlfriend, and I can't remember how she's called. Let me see. Mathilde. And later 2 other dogs will join the family as well. And what I thought was very nice, well, the art is beautiful. So we have, for example, a very small Ubac. And we have a chapter in the view of Cédric. We have a chapter from the viewpoint of Ubac. We have a chapter from the viewpoint of Mathilde, which is very interesting, and it is really well done. Then you have like beautiful art like this, and I don't know if it is a spoiler, but it is like Marley and Me. So this means that we will be having the whole lifespan of Ubac, and Cédric wrote this book to process his loss of the dog. So you are warned, if you want to go into this story, Ubac unfortunately will die. He will die of old age and will be very loved through all his life, but it's still sad. And I really enjoyed reading this story. It even in graphic form, it made me tear up. I am tempted now to at some point read the novel, and because, well, I think it is a beautiful story with a lot of mountains and stuff. I read it for Hikathon, by the way, for Book with a Hike. There are several in this one. I am just afraid that if I read the novel that I will cry out all the tears I possibly can. That happened with Marley and Me as well. It's going from extremely hot to rain and thunderstorm this week, and we are unable to go outside in either of those weather types. So we are going to play some of the games that we set aside as Hikathon and Mayflower's readathon related board games. We have picked 2 different ones for today. The first one is this Haba game called Quack. Is it the same in English? Yes. And in this game, we are going to try to have frogs jumping into the water. This is quite easy. It requires some patience, but we have a lot of fun with this game. We bought it secondhand and it's not in the best of the conditions, but it is still playable. We are also going to play this other Haba game, which is called Escargot Préparté. Let me see, Snail Sprint in English. Well, snails are very spring. We have been talking insects also, and it is one of the favorite games of Naoki. In this game, these snails are on a hike, making around the board. And what is very funny, you will see later, the snails are magnetic, and they climb up the box and go all the way over it and back down. The third one we picked is this one. It's called Drago Tuku. And in this game, we are hiking over an island to gather pieces of a castle that has been blown apart by some heavy spring winds. C'est maintenant en anglais. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Et en néerlandais. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom! The next book that I finished is L'Héritier des Fées by Estelle Faye. I picked this book because of the cover. It is beautiful. And after that also because of the story, or more the concept of it. So this is a French-only book, unfortunately, and it is set in Les Pyrénées, to be exactly aux Pyrénées, that is like the middle part of the mountain chain between France and Spain. Let's do some geography, because it's important in this story. So this is set in the years 1230-ish. And what is great about this story is that it is based on the folklore and the myths that we have in the Pyrenees. And I spent a lot of summers down there. And so this book attracted me for that. It is middle grade, so it is a book that I read fairly quickly, but not as quickly as I thought, because I annotated it. I looked up like historical events, but let me get to the plot first. We are following Tristan, and Tristan is a changeling. His father knows. He lives in a castle, which is a small castle, all up in the Pyrenees. His father isn't doing very well. He's a widow. The Crusades have left him with a lot of trauma, and so he lives up there quite isolated, and he's really not up to raising a young boy. So Tristan is raised by his older brother Emeric, who is not a changeling, until the day that Emeric has decided that now his little brother is old enough to take care of himself. He has taught him the skills that he could, and he sets off, because in France, in that time period, something was happening. France didn't exist the way it is today. We had France in the upper side, but then the Occitanie was the country on the lower part. And at some point in Occitanie, there has been a religious separation from Christianity, which is called the Cathars. So at this time period, explains the author, the term Cathars was not yet in use. It came later, but because it is such a well-known term, she chose to use it already in that time period. But the Pope and the King of France and his lords really didn't like the Cathars, and they invaded Occitanie in a crusade against them. So yes, there was a crusade that stayed in Europe. So there is this strange occupying situation going on, and even if not all people there are Cathars, they really want to get rid of the French. They want to keep Occitanie as their country. We know now, later on in history, that this didn't happen. In this book, so Emeric goes away, and Tristan continues growing up until one day some Christian religious order comes to his father, trying to take the castle and their land from them because he has death. And Tristan doesn't know how to help his father, so he decides to go look for his brother, and he will try to follow all the way that he went until he comes across him. Of course, Tristan, as a changeling, is not alone. He will encounter regularly fées, but then fées in the ancient way. So there is the Tartaro, which is like a cyclop yeti that roams the mountains. There are little implings. There is his mom, who is a fée. There are ghosts, and there is even the devil, who is not as black, as bad as we tend to see him now. And they will help him along his quest. And this quest will change him a lot. He will meet a young girl that will follow him. We will see how Tristan grows. There is no romance in this book. And by the end, he will have to make a choice. and to save, let's say, his brother and his people, he somehow finds himself banned. And that's where we meet him. So what I think is very well done is that we have the whole story in flashback, so that younger readers never have to be afraid that the hero will die. He does not die. He is telling the story. I thought the story was well done for middle grade. I think like Niklaus, if he would have the patience to read this book, would enjoy it a lot. I didn't like the part of adding in the folklore, for the simple reason that I feel that it is more like a little tip in. I wanted to hear more legends and myths, and I wanted to discover more sites where things are happening instead of this one forest, and I wanted it maybe to be a little more grim. Instead, it is quite fairy tale-esque in a way that all of these fées that in the Irish myths are not that nice basically are, and we don't really learn anything about the legends. But the story was nice and I had a good time. I had especially a good time checking out which characters were historical, which were not, which facts were historical and which were not. And now I hope my kids are going to read that, because I filled margins. Let's see, where do I have some, where it's written a lot. I have like margins filled with notes of this is historical, this is what happens after, this is exact years, so that they would learn a little bit about the history of this part of Europe. evening. We are enjoying a very nice sunset on the desk. It's the first time we see the sun this weekend, so we are very happy that we can enjoy this little moment. And I'm going to take the time to talk to you about the games that you just saw me play with Jorim. The first one is Bees. It is by Dan Hallstatt. I think it is very beautiful, and the game elements are very beautiful, and it is a strategic game in which you try to collect honey that is represented by the little wooden cylinders, and you want to place it strategically in your hive so that you can score points with the different type of point cards. We played it 2-player, but it can go up to 4 players. The other one we played is Papillon Céleste. I am not sure that this game has an English version. It is a very quick 2-player game in which you play a little bit like the Mahjong on the phone. You can take away the tiles that are not covered by others, and it is very fun to play quickly. So normally you can play until one of the 2 players has won 3 times, but you can of course play as long or as short as you would like. I also kept one book to talk to you about this evening, and it is one that I am glad I can talk to you about. It is called L'Ascension des Dragons. This is an audiobook that I listened to that wasn't on my TBR because I've got time. Why did I pick that one? It's going out of the Audible included for me, and so I decided it would be a time to listen to that. It is a fantasy standalone in which we have our world, but some of the humans that roam this world in fact are not humans. They are heirs to the dragons, and so they have special powers, and they have like their own sub-society in ours. They have their own government also, and it's not all peace in there. No, there is a faction that wants to first of all control their own, the ones who have powers that are very offensive, that are very defensive, and they want to steal these powers for themselves so they can be more powerful, and they also want to basically destroy mankind, or at least rule mankind. And one day, so we will be following, of course, a young adult lady called Emma, who is extremely powerful. Her powers were sealed because of some things that happened when she was young, and she is nicknamed the Dragon Queen. And we will discover her quite peaceful life, and then one day one other person makes the existence of these dragons public and known to mankind, which forces Emma to step up and take her place as the queen of the dragons. And she wants to maintain peace and a balance with the humans. And then we will follow how this situation completely gets out of hand, how the humans react in a not so fair way, and everything that collides out of that. I thought it was a very interesting standalone novel. The world, well, our world, but I mean the magic and the lore and the ideas are very well developed and interesting. It leaves some room for a second one, but I don't think there will be any. There are no plans for that. I found it was a little bit maybe too young adult for me, but in the other side it has characters of various ages, children, all elderly people, so it is varied enough that I had a very good time with it. It does have a romance element, but it's not a romantasy. The romance was very severe. There were not really, I can't recall that there was a spicy scene in it, but also this romance really does serve in the plot and in events that are happening. I'm going to leave you here. It's time to go edit this video so that you can watch it very soon. And if you're interested, well, there will be another carousel vlog, of course, next Monday. And in the meanwhile, normally on Thursday you will have my wrap up, and on Saturday I have a brand new go with me to the library vlog that I will highly recommend to you, not because it's mine, but I think it's fun that this one holds some background story about the historical building our library is located in. So I hope you'll enjoy that until we meet again for a carousel. I wish you a happy reading month. Since it's the 31st of May, we can wish you that for June, and if you're participating in TAR, good luck. See you soon!